we're going to take a look at the second tab here, which is the gallery tab. Now let's talk about the structure of the gallery. There are basically 4 sections. There's my content, which is empty. I've had this computer a few weeks, so I have 9 items in my content, but it is empty when you start. The Gallery Essentials has 6,705 items in it. It contains pictures, interactives and multimedia, notebook files and pages that are pre-made, and backgrounds and themes. We'll come back to that. Notice there are a lot of categories, and there are 2 ways to find something in the gallery. One would be to type in the search box, and the other would be simply to open. Let's say you open geography, and we go to maps, and we go to pictures. There's 591 pictures in the maps category. When I open that, we have pictures that might be on a map. We have actual maps. There's a map of every state. Not only is there a map of every state, there's a map of every state plain, and there's a map of every state with certain cities located. So here's a picture of Alaska, and then here's Alaska's same map with some cities identified. So you have all of that in there, and I would certainly encourage you to use the search box to find what you're looking for, because more than likely it's going to be there. All right, so take some time to look at Gallery Essentials. The third category is called the Toolkit. And the basic difference is this: the gallery is pre-made content, maps, pictures that you would need in science. There's an amoeba movie, little video that shows an amoeba as it's moving around. There are sections of Martin Luther King's "I Love the Dream" speech. There are all numbers in the basic 0 through 9 are there in various handwriting. All the letters of the alphabet, both in regular lowercase and uppercase, made with dotted lines, etc. So you could drag those out if you didn't want to write your own. All sorts of things in there. Okay, so now let's look at the next category, which is Lesson Activity Toolkit. In the toolkit, there are activities waiting for you to add your content. For example, notice how the structure is. Activities are first, then examples. But if I open the examples folder, we have activities again. The difference is this activities folder under examples is examples of ways that you could use this content. So let's take a look at this first one. It's called anagram. Remember that word, it's called anagram. It is a spelling game, and so notice I'm having a little trouble seeing it, so I'm going to do full page, and we get full page this time. When I start the game, it comes up with, oh, I'm still in the pen tool. I need to make sure I'm in the mouse tool. When I start the game, it comes up with this word, and I have a clue down here, and it tells me that it is H2O. And so I know that it's water, and I get the word right. I hit next. And you then could make your own game with your own spelling words. You'll notice that I'm simply moving the bubbles around to get the word spelled correctly, and when I'm done, it gives me a score and a new one. Now remember what that was called. It was called anagram. It was in the examples folder. You want to go then get an empty anagram puzzle where you can put in your own words. So we go back to activities, first folder called anagram. There are 6 of them in every one of these folders. The only difference between them is the color of the border. So you would pick your color. It's close to Halloween, so we'll pick orange. And here is an empty anagram. You would type in your own words, your own clues. You could drag pictures in if you wanted those to be your clues. And that's the basic premise behind everything in the activities folder, is that you go to the examples, see how they used examples of those activities. Remember the title. The next one is category sort image. If you like the way they did that, then you would go back to activities and you would do category sort image. So take a look at those and see what you find in there. Now I have one more thing to say, and that's the very first folder is my content. My content is empty, as I said earlier. If you want to put something in my content because it's something that you use a lot, let's take for example that you decide you're going to use this heart a lot. So you have a heart and you want to put it in my content. Now this works for anything you have on your page. You open the My Content page, you turn auto hide off because this panel has to stay open. You then grab the heart and drag it into the folder. That means then when I actually open my content, there's my heart. And anything that you might want. Here's a picture of some lined paper that I put in there earlier. It's just a picture of lined paper, but that would mean that every time I needed lined paper, I could just drag it out and have lined paper to write on. Now we have one more thing to say, because computers get re-imaged and they sometimes break down. Under my content, if you've got a bunch of stuff in there that you really want to keep, you want to be sure you go to my content, you go to export as collection file, maybe once a month, and you want to put it in the Z drive for your content. Give it a name, maybe a date, so that you know I created this in October. Hit save. That will put a file in here which backs up anything you have in my content. Now let's say that your computer, you've done that on October 30th, your computer crashes on November 5th. When they re-image or get you a new computer, you would then go to your Z drive, you would drag that file onto your desktop and double click on it. It will open up, it will go into your My Content. You don't have to know where it goes, it just goes there. So that's a good way to keep a backup if you've got good stuff in there that you don't want to use. You may put anything in My Content that you want to keep track of, and certainly you will come across, for example, let's say that you go to the gallery and you decide that that timer that's in the gallery under interactives. I went to administration, that's anybody administering this program. You go down here to the timer and you really like this timer. You set it and you like the fact that when it goes off, it beeps. You can edit that timer, so you could change it from a beep to other choices like applause or a cheer, and you can save that. But let's say you like that timer and you don't want to have to go looking for it every time, so you would grab that timer and you would drag it to My Content, and that means that when you go to the interactives in My Content, there's the timer. And of course I had put that in there earlier as well. So that's the use of the gallery. There's over 7,000 items in there to make your life easier, so I hope that you will. Probably your first assignment ought to be go look for lined paper. So you would go up here to the top and you would type in lined paper and then hit the either the return key or the magnifying glass, and you'll have lined paper.
Jean, thank you. You are a smart
don't
lady.
You put that up there.
You are a smart lady.